One more thing. It's been a year since that trade happened. And one thing keeps coming back to my mind. Welcome. You're still locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for over 10 years. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use the code LOCKEDON. You get $20 off your first purchase. If you missed the episode with Isaac and Slightly and I talking about all kinds of things, the trade deadline, everything that we thought. We disagree on a bunch of stuff with the Mavs trade, so go listen to that. And then I'll bring Isaac and Slightly in to talk about their thoughts about the Luka trade. But I want to start with this real quick. I think it's been a year since the Luka Doncic trade, the Anthony Davis trade, the Max Christie trade, the Nico Harrison got fired because of it trade, whatever you want to call it. And one thing keeps coming back to my mind is that Cooper Flagg saved the day. 1.8% chance. 1.8% chance the Mavericks got the number one pick. That was the lottery odds for when the Mavs got the number one pick. And if you just look at the consequences of the entire trade altogether from start to finish, from what Nico's vision was, the banned word on the show, from where it is now and what has actually transpired, Mavericks fans and the Mavericks themselves are teetering on a cliff, on an edge if Cooper Flagg doesn't happen. Think about how toxic, think about how terrible everything would be. Think about how frustrated everybody would still be at this point. If you don't have Cooper Flagg, is Nico Harrison still in power? Because, hey, you've got to clean this up. But now with Cooper Flagg, you have a future that you can push towards. You have a future that you can plan for. You have actually something that you can look at that management and ownership can look at and be like, all right, well, we actually have a future. We actually have a foundation now going forward for what this franchise can be and how this franchise can get back to relevance in any way, shape, or form. 1.8% chance. And I get it. 1.8% is why people are still thinking that it happened because the league mandated it. And has it worked out well for the Lakers? I mean, kind of. They've been back to relevant. They've got Luka Doncic. They've been in some big moments. They've had massive stories. You've had, LeBron James with the story about they're treating it like Luka's team now. You've had all that. And so you've had some big moments that make the league relevant again. They've talked a lot about how the league's ratings have been up. And if you want to believe the conspiracy, I all the power to you. But so much has changed since that trade happened. Anthony Davis has been way more injured than any of us thought he would be. Luka got in really good shape, which I think a lot of people expected. But you had the men's health cover, you had all that kind of stuff. He's still kind of dealt with injuries, but he's been fine and been absolutely awesome on the court when he's played. And that's not a surprise. That's not anything that has changed. I think Max Christie has been better than a lot of people expected him to be. And he's been really good. And he's been an incredible three-point shooter this year. He's a really solid young piece that the Mavericks have gotten. Nico got fired 9 months after the trade. I think that's kind of wild. 9 months. He didn't get to see 1 year of his vision, of his plan. But I keep coming back to this idea that Cooper Flagg saved everything. That 1.8% chance is the difference between absolute toxicity and terribleness and, honestly, basketball hell that the Mavericks could be in right now. Imagine without Cooper Flagg, we're watching this team without Anthony Davis, without Kyrie Irving for the amount of time, be the same amount of time. But just having Cooper Flagg, that 1.8% chance saved this Dallas Mavericks franchise. Maybe in more ways than one. All right, let's bring in Isaac slightly. Let's talk more about this trade a year ago. We're 1 year removed from the Luka Doncic trade.
Oh, God.
We didn't want to do like a whole big thing about it, but I do want to talk about it with the three of us. We went through the whole timeline on Slightly Show on Haymaker. So we talked about it there, but we're 1 year out from the Luka Doncic trade. What has changed since it initially happened in your mind? Because when it happened, we all thought it was the worst trade. We were on this very show talking about how it was the worst trade in sports history, NBA history. I don't think that part of it has changed, but there are like little facets of it I think that have changed in the year since.
Yeah, still stings to this day. I mean, Nico getting fired was kind of the Band-Aid ripped off moment, I think, for a lot of people. And obviously, Coop being here has just changed the whole situation entirely because I think it would still be very negative and a very bad fan environment if Cooper was not here and AD was hurt and Kyrie still wasn't back yet. I think it would be really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that I keep I can never get past, and some people want to, when Luka's had a few injuries this year, and the weight stuff has came back up, and people have tried to do like a semi victory lap for Nico of like, oh, maybe he wasn't that wrong, and look at Luka, is he breaking down and all this stuff. And it's like, all right, just stop. The thing that I still go back to that we were just right off the bat saying is if Nico and the Mavs in general looked at Luka back then and said, hey, at some point over the next year, we might entertain. We don't know if we want to like build around him long term. Still a bad decision. I still think you don't trade Luka. But if you come to that conclusion, you can get a king's ransom for him. And the thing that will never be, even if Luka, God forbid, said, or had a bad injury tomorrow or said tomorrow, I'm going to Real Madrid. See ya. I don't want to ever play in the basketball again. It's still not a victory lap for Nico or anybody involved because you could have gotten so much more. And that's why I was like, whenever the Bucks are listening to offers for Giannis, I'm like, wow, cool. What a concept to listen to offers for your star player and to like actually get a nice return if you're going to trade your star player. And that's the thing that no matter what happens for the rest of Luka's career, the package that you got back for Luka will always go down as the worst trade negotiation trade in NBA history. Cause it's just stupid. I mean, Anthony Davis has played in 29 basketball games for your franchise since that trade, 29 games. Max Christie's literally been the star of the trade. So, I mean, I don't, and then whatever you get, we'll see where their draft pick lands in 2029, because I mean, if that's just nothing or a pick in 28, I mean, even if it's in the lottery, like still like the odds of it. Anyway, it still sucks to this day. There's nothing new really, I guess.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks daily fantasy made easy. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks. It's always good to feel right. Prize Picks has a special max discount for the big game live in the app. Right now, Drake May just needs one passing yard for the max discount to win and add another player to the lineup. If it hits, you can cash in. I'm looking at this right now, and if this is right, Prize Picks, I could do more on Drake May, 0.5 passing touchdown. So if he gets one touchdown, more on Drake May, 0.5 passing yards. So if he passes for one single yard, and more on Kenneth Walker, 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. So if Kenneth Walker scores, Drake May gets a touchdown, then you can go and play all those together on the power play. I put down $20, you can get 52 on it. If I put down, let's say if I put down 100, I can win $260 on that one. So that's almost like free money right there. Download the Prize Picks app and use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Do it with the big game, all those picks for the Seahawks and the Patriots. You can also do it for the NBA and all kinds of other stuff. You can combine sports. You can do all kinds of things with Prize Picks. So check it out. Prize Picks, download the app, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Game Time. There is nothing like being in an NBA arena. The crowd, the energy, the moment, many moments. Getting tickets, though, that's the part that always has been kind of difficult. I remember when I was a kid, I would walk into an arena or a stadium, and you'd always see guys like on the street corner, like, hey, you need tickets? There's still those guys every once in a while. Now those guys are an app called Game Time. You can get tickets from Game Time wherever, even like on your way to the arena. I've done that on the way to a Dallas Wings game. I went and I was like, all right, I need tickets, and I got them on the way there because the prices will go down right before the event. So you can go check that out. All kinds of things happening in DFW. You got BTS concert. You got a Monster Jam. Spurs at Mavericks. Jets at Stars. Pitbull, Dale coming to the Dos Equis Pavilion. They have all kinds of different things that you can get in on Game Time. And right now, you can take the guess regret of buying NBA tickets and more with Game Time. Use the Game Time app, create an account, and use this code. It's Locked On, just Locked On, LOCKEDON, Locked On for $20 off. Download Game Time today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not gametime.com when it comes to the website on Game Time. Also brought to you by BetterHelp. Everybody has things that they need to talk through. And when you have the snow and the ice and everybody's stuck inside, you're like, man, there are times when everything just feels like it's slowing down and you start rethinking everything in your life. Maybe you're doing some spring cleaning. You're thinking through a whole bunch of other things. And honestly, it can feel like everyone has it all together in their life when you're scrolling through social media and figuring out and like comparing all kinds of different things with other people. Everybody doesn't have it figured out. Everybody has to talk to somebody sometimes. It's easy to assume everyone has the perfect relationship, the perfect life, but most people are just working through something just like you are. talk to somebody. Talk to somebody at BetterHelp. They can help you out, help you communicate better, set healthier boundaries, stop carrying everything alone. BetterHelp has licensed therapists in the U.S., and they do initial matching work for you so you can focus on your goals. And if you want to switch therapists at any time, they understand that. They know you got to vibe with that person. So you can switch anytime, which is awesome. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA. That's BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Yeah, it was one thing to bet against Luka. It was another thing to get what you got for it. And one of the ironies that I keep coming back to for this whole thing is that the reason Nico said that he wanted to do it under cover of darkness and not let it get out is because he wanted to avoid a tumultuous summer. And then he got the most tumultuous summer that we've ever seen in Mavericks history. Like, fan riots. We saw like the Mavs TV broadcast, like subscriptions went completely down. Season ticket holders cancel all this stuff. And then you get Cooper Flagg and that saves the whole thing. But you went through something even worse than what you would have gone through if you just had put up Luka for sale, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a complete and total miscalculation of everything, and clearly no real grasp on the weight of what you were doing, because I think it was just, he felt as though I'm in this room every day. I interact with him every day. I have these frustrations with him, and if I have them, then everyone else might share them. And if I explain to people through like these leaks, like, oh, well, this is what was happening. Like, you know, he weighed this much.
There were people, though, there were Mavs fans that we would get all the time in comment sections, and that I would talk to in person too, that would be like, I'm so sick of this Luka thing with his weight and with the complaining and the whining. Like, they were so done with it. And I think Nico just miscalculated how many of those people there actually were, and how many of those that were like, yeah, I'm sick of that stuff, but still, like, he's a top 5 player in the NBA. You just don't like remove that for nothing. And still, the connection from Dirk to him and all that, like, he just completely missed that.
It's kind of like, I'm sure there's people listening to the show that like you've complained about your job like over and over again. Like like your job's just not ideal. And it's like once a week you're like ranting to a coworker and you're like, God, and you're like, all this stuff, but you're still not going to quit because like you're going to complain about it and like talk about how it's not ideal, but like, you need the money and like, some of the perks and stuff are worth it for you.
That's
and
like
it's like
slightly
that.
Every time the Mavs play a really boring game, he comes on in here. It's like, we got to talk about this game again.
I'm like, dude, this team is just so boring.
Because it's like, we all heard all the stuff about Luka behind the scenes for so long, but it's like, you're not going to trade him over it. Like, you're going to try and just like work past that crap. And they didn't. But
I mean, that was one of the things that some people never understood is like, yeah, you can have frustrations with your best players. Like, that can happen.
I'm sure they had him with Jordan. They had him with Kobe. They had him with everybody except for maybe Tim Duncan.
You can have these conversations, and it's okay to have these conversations. And at some point, you got to have them. Dirk had to have these conversations,
right?
Like, these are things that happen with star players. And I mean, I don't know if I ever spoke to someone who's like, you know what, we should just trade him right now. Like, get out of it while we can. Like, I don't know if I ever heard someone say that.
Anybody real?
Yeah, anyone's to take
until the GM.
Every now and then, maybe at an LA Fitness, a guy like, they need to trade Luka and get some defense. Maybe Nico's been around LA Fitness is a little too much. Like, you got to play defense, man.
I think one of my favorite things, I mean, we could talk all day about the PR disaster afterwards, but one of my favorite things post trade was the reporting of Nico and praising Pelinka. I just want to, just the secrecy and stuff and the professionalism of like keeping it between them. It just meant so much. It's like, buddy, you got played.
I was gonna say that's not the sympathy that you're trying to get out there from people. Not gonna work out the way you thought.
So bad.
Nico getting fired 9 months after the trade is still wild if you look back on it and think about it. Like 9 months, mid-season too.
I know y'all don't think it'll happen, but if AD gets traded this week, the fact that like Nico and Anthony Davis could both be gone within like kind of a calendar year post trade is pretty wild to think about.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. One more thing, bonus episode of Locked On Mavs. Go listen to the episode with me, Slightly, and Isaac talking about the trade deadline, all kinds of good stuff there, all kinds of things with the Everydayers Club. Use the code DEADLINE, and you get access to 1 month free of the Everydayers Club. It's lockedonmavericks.supercast.com. You get ad-free episodes of this show as well as the Discord where you can talk about all kinds of stuff. We have a channel that's called That Trade in there, so you can go check out that too. All kinds of good stuff on the Everydayers Club. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. One more thing.
Peace out.
Boom.